Darkseid attains the anti-life equation by attaining it just so he could build himself an army of stormtroopers to waste away on Earth. This is also written by Grant Morrison, so strap in because things are about to get wild. This is the story of Final Crisis. The new god Orion parts with an ominous warning and then succumbs to his injuries. He is in you all. Detective Dan Turpin's investigation leads him into a creepy club in Metropolis. Fresh off his victory from a war in heaven, Darkseid informs him the children he seeks are beyond salvation, for they have fallen to the anti-life equation and are now an extension of Darkseid's will. Libra is an agent of Darkseid who is running for president of the secret society. Unlike his competition, he intends to deliver on his promises without requiring the neighboring country to pay for it. He then angers all 5 of Martian Manhunter's fans by cooking him alive without seasoning. Elsewhere, it's revealed a race of monitors are responsible for babysitting the multiverse. When a monitor neglects his world while browsing brain rot on TikTok, he's stripped of all his powers and exiled to our Earth because that's where all the main characters happen to be. Martian Manhunter's funeral is somehow even shorter than his cameo in Zack Snyder's Justice League. His fault for not being an A-lister, I guess. Green Lantern's discovery of a peculiar bullet buried in the ground furthers Batman's crazy theory that a bullet was perhaps fired backwards through time, killed Orion, and then lodged itself into the ground. John goes missing shortly after, and Hal is pinned for both Orion's murder and the attempt he just made onto his partner's life. This Alpha Lantern character overseeing the investigation is awfully suspicious, and that's when she unveils her true nature as Darkseid's lieutenant, Granny Goodness. She overpowers the Caped Crusader and kidnaps him through a boom tube. Turpin winds up meeting the menacing Granny Goodness in Blüdhaven, who straight up tells him everything. Following a great war in heaven, they are manufacturing new bodies for the evil new gods of Apocalypse to respawn into, and they've been patiently waiting for his arrival. The Flashes are entrusted with investigating Martian Manhunter's untimely demise when they're interrupted by a boom tube revealing a Barry Allen running for dear life. Maybe Batman's crazy theory isn't so crazy after all. 3 Flashes and not one of them could stop the bullet in that they were too busy admiring Barry Allen. On the bright side, he's back from his 20-year vacation ever since he died in Crisis on Infinite Earths. Libra guarantees himself a landslide victory by simplifying the ballot for them. Once more, the anti-life equation strips you of all free will, essentially rendering you an empty-headed puppet to Darkseid. Likewise, Luthor is presented with 2 options: either become a stormtrooper slave to the anti-life equation or pledge his loyalty to the final boss. In the barren wasteland of Blüdhaven, the Amazon princess is confronted by the new and improved Mary Marvel, with assets that are, and I quote, enhanced to the dimensions of Power Girls. Concurrently, Anti-Life is uploaded online, which forces Oracle to pull the plug on the internet, because apparently that's a thing. Furthermore, Lois is barely hanging on after a bombing on the Daily Planet. A monitor then strides into the room and offers to take Superman on a side quest to save Lois. Turns out she's looking to hire some muscle against a slightly different final boss. In return for his services, she'll hand over some cough syrup that should fix Lois right up. While traversing the bleed, the space between universes, they're attacked and forced to make an emergency landing in Limbo, where they uncover the origin story of the Monitor race. Long story short, a Monitor found out long ago that they are vampires feeding on the multiverse itself and destroying it in the process. When he gave in to his intrusive thoughts and became Mandrak the evil Dark Monitor, he was forever locked away, but not before constructing a giant Superman robot as a last line of defense to exterminate any Monitor who dared to cross the line. Shadow demons now flood the sky as Mandrak extends his influence onto Ultraman. The Dr. Manhattan wannabe smashes the 2 Supermen together, causing them to respawn inside that Superman Megazord to fight Mandrak. A catastrophic fight breaks out between the 2 Titans, I'm just kidding. They shoot laser beams and the evil vampire falls off a cliff. Superman wipes out the remaining shadow demons, then returns to administer said cough syrup. In the post-credit scene, Ultraman, who was seemingly tossed aside and forgotten, is turned by another evil monitor who assumes the title of Mandrake. Black Lightning delivers a masterclass on how not to dodge the anti-life stormtroopers who are out to violate their personal space. He encounters the villainous tattooed man and his family, but his employment history is meaningless right now, considering that you're either with or against Darkseid at this point. The hero presents a cheat code against anti-life in the form of a circuit, and then he sacrifices himself to buy them enough time to escape. Except, the family man has a change of heart and turns around for the Hall of Justice. Americans can't wait to catch up on the latest adventures of Superman, especially during an apocalypse, is what the Pulitzer-winning Lois Lane is probably thinking. Slaving away delivering her papers is the Ray, and today he picks up everybody's favorite criminal. The tattooed man displays Black Lightning's circuit, but these empty-headed peanut brains have zero idea what it is they're even looking at. All the main characters funnel into a giant Discord call for Green Lantern's pep talk, given that they were all promised a pizza lunch for attending. On the other end is Mr. Terrific holding it down in Switzerland, when out pops Mr. Miracle and company with a solution to their problems. But the person of color is shot in the chest. Turpin has resisted the anti-life equation thus far, which is kind of impressive to be honest. This was all scripted, however, and when his stamina bar is eventually depleted, Darkseid is reborn and the final crisis begins. Guy Gardner and Kyle Rayner know for a fact that Hal is innocent, the reason being he already experienced his villain arc in Zero Hour. They claim that Alpha Lantern has been compromised and that it was she who assaulted John earlier. Granny Goodness gives up the facade when all eyes turn to her. I'm not entirely sure what her plan was or if she even had one, but I don't think it worked out for her. Hal is subsequently cleared of all charges. Fortunately, Mr. Miracle is wearing plot armor, so there's nothing to worry about. He advises them to trace the same circuit the tattooed man was showing earlier onto their faces, since it somehow negates the anti-life equation. As Earth further plummets into a doomsday singularity, the final battle commences in Blüdhaven between the forces of good and evil, which is just fancy talk for they have 1 hour to defeat the final boss before it's game over, and the Green Lanterns will arrive fashionably late like that one friend we all have. So, whatever happened to Batman? His kidnappers learned the hard way that cheap Jedi mind tricks won't work on him. The New Gods are attempting to clone an army of Batman due to his focus, commitment, and sheer will, and they're doing so by scrubbing through his memories. I won't bore you with all the details of Batman's origin story, or perhaps I will. He once lost a potential mate in Julie Madison, he then conscripted a literal child for his war on crime, he further lost another potential mate in Batwoman, and Robin graduated with a severe vitamin D deficiency. At last, Bruce realizes that Alfred standing before him is a lousy imitation designed to probe his memories. All of a sudden, Bruce finds himself in a completely different world. He's a doctor working overtime, both his parents are still alive, and Alfred falls down a well. Recognizing that Batman is fighting back, his captors summon his most visceral memories: Jason's death, The Killing Joke, Nightfall, Hush, and Identity Crisis. Their feeble minds are ill-prepared for this amount of trauma, which ends up destroying the clones. And because Batman is just built different, he simply wakes up. Brainiac 5 summons Superman into the 31st century to show him that one weird trick to beating the final boss. It's a device capable of reversing all the damage Darkseid has done by turning thoughts into realities. They call it the Miracle Machine. However, he's only got 52 seconds to memorize its design like a Chinese factory before he fades back to the present. As I direct your attention back to Blüdhaven, the main event is a fight between Supergirl and the Power Girl starter pack. They slander each other using demonetizing words, followed by a few pages of men drawing women. Captain Marvel's empty-headed peanut brain finally taps into the wisdom of Solomon and uses his own lightning bolt to transform them both. A stalemate breaks out between Batman and Darkseid. They each possess a weapon capable of obliterating their opponent. The Dark Knight takes a rain check on his no-killing rule and fires the Radiant bullet, just as Darkseid unleashes the Omega Sanction upon him. And that is how Batman dies. Superman returns from his flop of a 2006 movie and emerges from the heart of Blüdhaven grasping onto Batman's corpse in the obligatory crisis pose. Superman is about to rearrange Darkseid's guts like a game of Tetris until he realizes it's Dan Turpin. This is not a fight the Man of Steel can simply punch his way out of, but maybe he won't have to. The Grim Reaper comes knocking on Darkseid's front door thanks to a speedy delivery from the Flashes, and the final boss is effectively exorcised from Dan Turpin. Luthor backstabbed Libra in the last issue to reclaim the Secret Society, and they join Superman in flushing out the remainder of Darkseid's stormtroopers. They manage to free Wonder Woman by freeing her, who in turn liberates everyone else from the Anti-Life Equation by twirling her lasso. When Darkseid's essence returns from the loser's bracket for a rematch, Superman puts down the God of Evil for good by singing him to death. The disgraced Monitor has regained his powers as he now leads an army of Supermen from the multiverse against a Mandrake wannabe. Vampire Ultraman loses a staring contest, and the Green Lantern Corps completes the side quest by driving a stake into Mandrake. Ultimately, the Miracle Machine is constructed, and Superman wishes for a happy ending, restoring everything to the way it was before this final crisis. As it turns out, Batman is still alive in the distant past because he's Batman. If you're still window shopping, what are you waiting for? Subscribe! Insert marvelous outro here, and I'll see you in the next one.